Okay. Um, the phrase I'm sure we're all getting sick and tired of hearing lately is constitutional crisis. Everybody's saying we're in a constitutional crisis. There's no set definition for that term because it depends on circumstances. I mean, the Constitution lays out three branches of government: the judicial, executive, and legislative. And I think it could generally or broadly be defined as when one branch either tries to accumulate too much power or do things it's not constitutionally permitted to do, or to take power that's been granted to another branch for itself. And but what do you have when that second branch that is having their power taken from them complies, agrees, and does that willingly? I don't think the proper term that we're dealing with right now is constitutional crisis. I think we're dealing with a constitutional collapse because, you know, Congress passes bills, and those bills are signed into law by the president, the legislative, the executive. Those bills are determined to be whether or not they're constitutional by the judicial branch. So that all three branches have a role. But when Congress passes spending bills or budgets, they're signed into law by the executive branch. They are laws. Those are laws. It's a law. And what we're experiencing right now is not so much a constitutional crisis as a constitutional collapse, because one of the branches is just checking out. The legislative branch is just checked out. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are taking the position that even though Article 1 of the Constitution designates the power of the purse to the legislative branch to draft bills that are signed into law by the president as far as spending, budgetary things, Donald Trump is like, no, because then it's the executive branch's job to implement or execute those laws and spend the money the way that Congress determined it ought to be in those bills that are now laws. So by not allocating or spending or sending out the money that Congress wrote in those spending bills, in those laws, Donald Trump is saying, no, I have the final authority over that. He's breaking the law, and he is taking that power of the purse from the legislative branch and putting it in the executive branch. And our current House and Senate, with their Republican majorities, seem to be completely fine with that. With the president taking that power away from the Congress that's designated to Congress in the Constitution. I think this goes well beyond a constitutional crisis. Add to that, it is the executive branch's job to execute the laws that are passed by Congress and signed into law by the president. What Elon Musk is doing is illegal. What Donald Trump is doing is illegal. But we've got the acting U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., Ed Martin, who's a MAGA election denier, sending out letters saying that anyone who interferes or impedes with Elon Musk and what he and his little happy band of incels are doing will be prosecuted. The acting U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., knowing that what Elon Musk is doing is illegal, has sent out letters saying that anyone who tries to stop him or impedes what he's doing will be prosecuted. Our newly confirmed Attorney General, Pam Bondi, has similarly put out directives that anybody who does anything to impede or thwart the implementation of Donald Trump's agenda, which is illegal, will be prosecuted. This goes well beyond the term constitutional crisis. It is a constitutional collapse because the executive is taking this authority from the legislative, and the legislative branch is like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Just rolling over. And the people within the executive branch whose job it is to uphold these laws are issuing directives and letters and instructions saying that they are going to do the exact opposite. Our nation's chief law enforcement officer and a U.S. attorney for the District of Washington, D.C. It is a constitutional collapse. And we are days away from Donald Trump completely ignoring and sending his investigators after the judicial branch and the judges who are issuing orders that he and Elon Musk have to stop what they're doing. And then we'll have a monarchy.